Have you truly met yourself? If your first thought was your name, you haven't. If you believe you are solely this physical form, you're still searching, defining yourself by career, possessions, or accomplishments. You're hopelessly lost, because the real you is intangible, invisible, yet it shapes everything visible. What if I told you your life is a funhouse mirror reflecting a warped self-image? Financial struggles, career frustration, emotional emptiness. These aren't external consequences. They're the fallout of a poorly constructed self-perception. I thought I knew myself. I'm name. Felt sufficient. But one day, I realized that name was just a label, a sound, letters chosen by my parents. And this body, it's not me, it's my body. Like my hands, my arms, my face. We never say, I am a leg. It's absurd. What I am is beyond simple words. It's the thinking, feeling, imagining, the force shaping my reality. For too long I lived as a reflection of what the world projected. Fool, lazy, a nobody. I believed it, becoming precisely that. I reacted to life, didn't live it. Every criticism was a stone, every rejection a brick. I built an invisible prison, haunting mediocre jobs, crippling debt, nights of soul-searching, screaming, why me? But that wasn't the right question. The real question was, who am I? A mentor changed everything. He looked at me and said, if you don't like the results, the change must start within you, not the world, not others, you. It seemed simple, yet resonated profoundly. How could I change anything without knowing myself? Most claim self-awareness. But do you know why you wake with that familiar weight? Why fear risk, loss, judgment? Have you ever looked at your life and thought, I expected more? Then maybe you haven't truly met yourself either. Maybe you've been conditioned to believe you're weak, limited, ordinary. Every attempt to be different is met with a condescending, who do you think you are? I know the pain. That grand feeling inside, yearning for expression, that was my life for years, until I decided to study myself. Not textbooks, not newspapers. My mind. I observed my thoughts, questioned my beliefs, asking, who planted this seed? Is it truth, or just an old idea I never challenged? Most live like zombies, repeating patterns, reacting to events, wearing masks. They believe it's the jobs, relationships, salaries, but these are fleeting. If that changes, what remains? The real you is immutable, the essence that dreams, desires, imagines a better life. Those dreams of freedom, abundance, purpose, that's real. Your soul remembering who you are. The world wants to extinguish that flame, to confine you to a small, limiting role. But you weren't born to fit in. You were born to overflow. Think about it. How many times have you shrunk yourself to fit in places that didn't want you? How many times did you say yes when you screamed no inside? How often did you stay silent, fearing judgment for simply being you? You might be carrying an identity that isn't yours, fulfilling others' expectations, leaving you exhausted, frustrated. Of course you are. Nothing's more draining than living someone else's life while yours remains trapped inside, crying for freedom. You can choose right now to rewrite your story. No more autopilot. Forget what they said, what they expect, what they think you can or cannot be. What you choose to believe from this moment on is all that matters. When I started looking inward, everything changed. It wasn't quick, it wasn't easy, but it was real. I built a new self-image based on who I wanted to be, not what others said. And guess what? The world around me shifted too. Because when we change internally, the universe responds. You are not your past, your name, your failures. You are the enduring force, still here because you have something magnificent to live. Now tell me, who do you choose to be? Ever wonder why most work 40 years, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, ending up with almost nothing? We live on the wealthiest continent in history, with unprecedented access to technology, information, education. Yet, 95% live in fear, limitation, captivity. Why? Because they've been conditioned. From birth, we're immersed in a system subtly shaping our thoughts. We're taught to follow the crowd, obey, not question. We hear, don't risk it. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. And the worst part? We believe it, accept it, adapt. I was one of them. Factories, gas stations, firefighting. I did whatever came my way, not out of passion, but because I thought it was all I could do. Until one day I looked around and thought, does anyone here actually know what they're doing? Everyone seemed unhappy, weary, worn down. I asked myself, if this is the right path, why is nobody getting anywhere? I realized what most never do. Following the crowd doesn't get you beyond average. And statistically, average is emotional and financial poverty. Studies show over 70% are in debt or struggling financially. It's not lack of talent or effort, it's excessive obedience to the norm, to fear, to do as everyone else does. But let me tell you this, your upbringing, the voices that surrounded you, the limitations imposed, none of this defines your destiny. Nothing. You might be surrounded by negativity, come from a broken family, have failed 1,000 times. You can still change everything. How? By stopping accepting as absolute truth everything you've been taught. When someone says it's impossible, they're not talking about you. They're talking about their own limitations. But if you're not careful, you'll adopt those limitations as your own. I see it daily. Incredibly talented people with brilliant ideas, never progressing, fearing to be different, to displease, to fail. But let me tell you, you're already failing by trying to be someone you're not, already disappointing yourself by ignoring your dreams, and there's nothing more painful than that. People talk about freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, but how can you be free if your mind is a prisoner? If every decision hinges on others' opinions, if the fear of judgment outweighs the desire for fulfillment, you don't need everyone's acceptance. You need to be true to yourself, to dare to think differently, to forge your own path, to question the norm, that job you hate but cling to out of fear, that business idea brewing in your mind, never launched because they said it wouldn't work, that talent you hide because it seems silly. It's you trying to emerge and your conditioning pulling you back. I understand, swimming against the current isn't easy, but it's possible. I did it. I started a cleaning business. No experience, no training, no support, but I had a clear goal. I knew what I wanted and refused to listen to the naysayers. Over $100,000 in the first year. It wasn't magic, it was decision, a shift in mindset. I stopped repeating what everyone else did and did what I believed in. You need to decide to think for yourself. Break free from autopilot. Stop waiting for approval to start living. Because if you don't, the world will continue deciding for you, pushing you wherever it pleases. You might be thinking, but what if I try and fail? I ask. What if you never try and spend your life wondering what could have been? Which pain do you prefer? The pain of trying and learning or the pain of settling and regretting? It's not your environment that defines you. It's your choice of how to react. You choose whether you'll be just another face in the crowd or the one who creates their own path. The life you want isn't out there. It's inside, waiting for a decision no one can make but you. The decision to be free, to think differently, to be who you were born to be. You may not realize it, but there's a program running in your mind, a silent, invisible code, incredibly powerful, dictating how much you believe you deserve, how much you can achieve, how happy you can be. It's like an internal thermostat. No matter how hard you try to force external circumstances, if the internal thermostat is set to scarcity, fear, limitation, you'll eventually return to that point again and again. I've seen it happen to dozens of talented, hard-working people with great ideas. They'd make money, achieve success, and then it all crumbled because something inside said, "This isn't for you." And if you hear that enough, even just in your head, you start to believe it. And when you believe it, the entire universe organizes itself to confirm that belief. That's why you need to reprogram your mind. Because until you do, you'll keep repeating cycles, even thinking you're doing something new, sabotaging your achievements, even swearing you want to win. I reprogram my mind daily, as naturally as brushing my teeth. It's not mystical, it's practice, repetition, decision. I've been reading the same book for over 20 years, carrying it with me, reading aloud, studying every line. Not because I don't know what's written, but because each time I read it, I'm a new version of myself, understanding something the previous version missed. Your mind is a garden. If you don't intentionally plant what you want to harvest, weeds will grow. And those weeds are inherited automatic thoughts. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. This isn't for me. They're there, even if you don't notice. The antidote? Awareness. Then repetition. Take a piece of paper. Write exactly how you want to be. Not how you are, not how others expect, but how you want to be. Write in the present tense, as if it were already true. I am prosperous. I am confident. I am free. Don't worry if it feels like a lie. Great truths begin as lies until you believe them. And when you truly believe, as someone said, belief creates the fact. Neuroscience proves this. Studies in neuroplasticity show the brain reorganizes based on what you repeat intentionally. If you visualize a new reality daily with clarity, emotion, and persistence, your brain starts accepting it as normal. Your thoughts, decisions, posture align with this new image. Visualization isn't a waste of time. It's internal construction. I remember a woman in one of my seminars, a waitress working double shifts, arrived with dark circles, exhaustion, and the phrase, "I don't think this life is for me." I asked her to write how she wanted to live in a year. She cried as she wrote. It was the first time she allowed herself to dream without apologizing. A year later, she returned. She'd moved to a new city, started a small artisanal candy business, worked joyfully, had time freedom, and, most beautifully, spoke with shining eyes. She didn't win the lottery, she changed her internal program. Do you understand the power of this? The external world will always try to convince you that you're small, but you're not. You are the creator of your reality. The universe responds to your vibration, not what you say you want, and you vibrate what you believe. The real question isn't what you want, it's what you believe you deserve. If that answer is still tainted by shame, doubt, or fear, that's where you need to work. Start today. Sit in silence. Close your eyes, see yourself living your dream life, feel the emotion as if it were real, then write it down, read it aloud, carry it with you. Read it when you're sad, when you doubt, until your body believes it before the world sees it, because when that happens, nothing can stop you. How many times have you abandoned an idea because someone called it silly? How many times did you give up before starting, fearing ridicule? Most are bound not by real chains, but by opinions. Friends, colleagues, family, strangers on social media. And the tragedy, these opinions constantly change, yet you live under their weight. You weren't made to fit anyone's expectations, but if you're honest, you'll admit you're trying to fit in to prove you're good enough to please, and that kills you inside, because no matter how hard you try, it's never enough. There will always be someone doubting you, and if you let that control you, you'll forget who you are. I met a man years ago with a special spark, natural talent, incredible ideas, big dreams, everything to build something revolutionary. But every time he spoke of his plans, someone laughed. That won't work. You dream too big. Don't get your hopes up. Slowly, he fell silent, faded, until he gave up. Years later, I found him, bitter, defeated, empty. It hurt, because I knew what he could have been, but he handed the wheel of his life to fear. Fear of rejection, criticism, standing out. I ask you, how many dreams have you buried just because someone doubted you? How many ideas have you stifled thinking, what if it fails? How many times have you hidden behind a persona that wasn't you just to be accepted? If you seek external validation, you'll spend your life begging for approval, making choices that don't represent you, following paths that don't fulfill you, becoming a pale imitation of who you could be. You might think, but I don't want to disappoint anyone. The question is, have you considered how much you've disappointed yourself by ignoring your own voice? When my life started changing, it wasn't when I started earning more. It was when I stopped asking permission to dream, stopped consulting others before deciding for myself. When I decided the only opinion that matters is my own. Because I'm the one who lives with myself 24 hours a day. I'm the one who feels the pain of inauthenticity, who pays the price when I ignore myself. This doesn't mean becoming a rebel without a cause. It's not about ignoring everyone. It's about recognizing that no one knows what burns in your heart better than you. No one feels the urgency of your dreams like you do. No one has the responsibility of building your life. Take a famous example. Made the world laugh, but inside battled profound pain, applause, fame, recognition, but no inner peace. This shows that no external validation replaces internal acceptance. No audience is enough if you haven't learned to applaud yourself. You can spend your life trying to be what others want, or you can start today being who you truly are. You can continue fearing judgment, or you can choose freedom. Freedom to err, learn, grow. Because that's what true life demands. Authenticity. Here's a simple yet powerful exercise. Take a few minutes today to write a letter to yourself, a letter of acceptance. Write as if you're talking to a dear friend. Say it's okay not to please everyone, that it's okay not to have done everything right until now. Say that from today, you choose to listen to yourself, to respect yourself, to prioritize yourself, and read that letter whenever you doubt, whenever the world shouts louder than your inner voice. Because if I've learned one thing, it's that the world treats you with the same respect you give yourself. And if you treat yourself as a priority, the universe responds. It always does, but only when you decide to answer yourself first.